What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XCN today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. Yes, we just talked about it, but here we are, fresh off the daily close. I figured it's a good time to talk nonetheless, even though we haven't moved too far away from our most recent prices. Here we are at about 1.123 cents, rather serendipitous. It seems inevitable at this point that we will go lower. I do believe that, I don't know what just happened there. I do believe that a daily close below this low close here would really help promote the idea that we do go lower than this low here, right? Ultimately, what we're looking for, and we're not expecting it to happen too fast, but we are looking for prices that are down at 0.0095 to 0.0084. Okay, looking at now, I would like to look at some shorter term time frames just to see what's going on here. And actually, before we do, I want to see where we are. I think we've broken back down. Maybe not. I think we're still above this trend line, guys. We're just hugging it. We're hugging it. We are hugging it to the upside from the downside there, and then we broke through it. Maybe hugging it from the upside to the downside is not a good thing, right? I mean, we still are. Okay, there we go. I guess we're actually not hugging it. Wow. As time goes on, even if you're just like slowly moving sideways, this thing is at a faster pitch to the downside. So we probably do go lower. Let's see. Today is, or maybe this week is 1 day and 22 hours left. All right, so we got a little bit to talk about. Hopefully we can avoid this, but if not, it's okay, right? Again, it's not completely condemning just because we do this or might do this. But if we do close, you guys, below there at about, what is that, what price is that? It's like 1.112, I think is what it was, right? 0.112, yeah, 1198. If we do close below there this week, that could imply that we are seeing lower targets, right? Imply does not mean that we will, but it's something that we should be aware of, right? And it's a goal, I think, to kind of avoid is to not close below this week. I want to be very clear. I want to be absurdly clear here, okay? It wouldn't look good, but I wouldn't just automatically flip bearish on this thing down to 0.007, 0.004 cents if we close down at that area, right? We still have areas of prior support back here that we could be holding. Going just below the 382 is pretty damn common, especially on the first attempt, which this is, I guess, it constitutes as your second attempt, but I wouldn't be too worried about it, especially if we do get below it and then close right back above it. If we close below it today, that's fine, and then get back up above it tomorrow, that's fine. It gives us a whole nother week. But what I would like to avoid is seeing this week close, because I am assuming that next week will also be bearish for most cryptos. So I have a hard time seeing, if this week were to close below the 382, I have a hard time seeing next week closing above it. It's okay if you close below it as long as the next week gets above it. But if you close multiple weeks below, that really does open up the door to go lower. And we've already said why this area at 007 wouldn't make sense. 00448 to 00338 would be the target areas to go for, and it makes a lot of sense on the price perspective, because you do have prior areas of resistance here, and a little bit of turbulence there, let's just call it. Again, I don't think we're going to see that personally, but it can happen, and if we want to avoid that becoming a higher degree of likelihood, we need to basically maintain these levels over the next day and 22 hours, which I don't know if we're going to, man. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame. 1 hour time frame looking pretty bearish. We haven't gotten oversold in all fairness, but we are living below the 50. Not a good look. Okay, if we were to find support, it should be now or never. Right, like we need to do it now or never. If not, we're going lower. I don't know why this white line's here. I think that was at like another area of consolidation or something like that. The 0.4 here, or sorry, the 4 hour time frame is promoting lower highs and lower lows, and we are grinding out this oversold area. That's not a good look, right? Anytime we've grinded out the oversold area, it has not been generally good, right? Grinded it out, oversold more. Grinded it out, oversold more. If we look at both these areas here, going all the way back to the way back, man. Grinding it out time and time again, and then finally when you drop, you see an immense drop that takes you, technically that was a higher low in all fairness, but on a closing period it was a lot lower than your lowest closing low over here. We grinded it out over here, grinding it out, and then whenever we finally got to that more oversold area, we dropped a little bit more substantially. Grinding it out like this, we might see a substantial drop that takes us back here. Again, that's not the end of the world. It's okay if we drop down here. Ideally, what we would want to find is some kind of bounce back up above this area. Do not start panicking. Do not go forsaking your Onyx coins and selling all of your XCNs if we get below this line. I wouldn't be surprised at all if today, just looking at the RSI on the 4-hour and the 1-hour, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we did. What we're looking for is support in this area, somewhat of a double bottom look. It could be a false double bottom. Maybe move up and then you continue to move down overall. That's fine, but we want this week to close above this line. As clear as day. I don't know how else to say it. I think that's what we want. And even then, it's not completely condemning that we go down to the golden ratio, right? I'm not selling just because we close below this week down here. I'm not selling if this week closes down here and next week we continue to move lower, right? That's not going to happen. I'm just going to buy more, if anything, right, and wait for the inevitable ride up. But the lower we go, the more it does mess with our potential high targets, okay? Things might have to be rethought as far as new highs go, as far as timing goes, right? Inevitably, OnxyCoin will see 30 cents. Inevitably, it will see prices that are above 80 cents, above $1, even $2, right? Inevitably, and I say inevitably, the future's never promised. These are just my expectations. I believe that that's what's going to happen. Just because I believe it doesn't, believe in one hand, take a dump in the other. What's going to happen first? We already got the answer. We're getting the dump first, right? But the chart doesn't care about my hopes and dreams is all that I'm trying to say. But what I would believe is that instead of seeing 20 to 30 cent targets by the end of May, we might have to restructure our thoughts, and that could be for a later date instead of by the end of May. Instead, that next move up by the end of May might take us back to our current relative highs. Maybe it takes us somewhere around 10 to 13 cents, which was a long thought target for a while there, right? It's a very possible outcome, but we'll see how that goes. Again, that's all hinging on this notion that we haven't done yet, right? We still have a day and 22 hours left in this week, and then we still have a whole week next week before things really start to look bad. So there's a lot that can happen. I mean, this thing does not need even like 2 hours to see a substantial move up, okay? At this point in time, in my opinion, the likelihood is that we do hold support somewhere around 0.0095 to 0.0084. Okay, I want you guys to understand that I'm, again, not considering, I shouldn't, let me think of my words here. I am considering lower targets, but I'm not leaning on them. I don't consider them as likely. I consider them as possible, and that's not the same by any means, right? I consider these targets as our likely lows. This is where I think we will likely go. That doesn't mean we have to go there even. We could find support higher. We could continue to grow, but before then, we could find support lower and then continue to grow from there. Anything can happen, right? Nobody knows the future. But what I am pretty confident in, the most confident, is that it doesn't stop here. We likely will continue to drop. We likely will continue to drop. I'm just hoping that we don't go this low, because then it throws off our whole bull flag idea. The Bitcoin bull flag might go away as well, and that just that doesn't tarnish this thing's performance abilities as far as like the rest of the cycle goes, but it would tarnish a little bit in the short-term movements to come, right? A little bearishness never hurt anybody, right? A little capitulation was never a bad thing for any kind of crypto charts, guys. Capitulation and fear is what the bull feeds off of. The bull needs your tears, needs your blood, and it needs your screams and shouts of terror, right? It needs it. That's what thrives for the bull. There were a lot of people here, this last little pump that we had, a lot of people thought XCN was going to zero because Justin Sun came out calling it a scam. And then the next day, he got in, and now he's part of the project, right? Or he's like I don't know if he's partnered with it officially or not, but I know that they're like working together. There's some kind of something going on there. If we're looking at the daily RSI, that's not what I was looking to do. Daily RSI, again, it would make sense that we go lower, although we are in an area where we have found support before. Let's be real, right? We have found support here before. What gave us the notion, what gave the possibility away that we would get oversold last time was we grinded this area, whereas the times before we bounced right off of this area. So if we do see some kind of immediate recovery, that'd be nice. But again, the shorter term timeframes are rather bearish at this point in time. the longer term time frames, the weekly time frames, the three day time frame, still very bullish. It could go lower, and it's still very bullish. Going down, coming from the overbought zone on a weekly time frame, bouncing off of your 40, and then working your way back up. That's not a bearish thing. So you can go. The weekly is very forgiving in this sense, but the short term stuff is less so. Just to give you an idea of where my head is at for the long term with this thing. There's one more thing I was going to talk about, and I can't remember what it was. Invalidate me. Invalidate my notion that you're going lower, right? And the way to do that, I would think, let's see, probably from this low to high here, the way to do that would be if we can get a day to close back above 1.2 cents. If we can get a day to close above 1.2 cents and continue to prosper from there, but 1.2 cents I think is a good minimum, we might have to rethink things from the downside, right? Maybe we don't continue to go lower rather immediately. Maybe we don't even go below this low at that point. Closing above 1.2 cents opens that door up. 1.9 cents is the area ultimately that we need to close above. If we can close above 1.9 cents, that validates this as a low, but the likelihood that we go below this right now is high. To bring that likelihood down, to make it less likely, still likely, but less likely, would first be to close a day above 1.2 cents. Then close above 1.4 cents, 1.37, let's say 1.38 cents. Close above 1.38 cents. That would help the validation. And ultimately, 1.9 cents is the final boss. If we can get above there on a daily closing basis, really does look good for a low. It's still possible, even if we close below here or up above here, that we could go lower. It's just this would be a sigh of relief, because if we did something like this in the short term, the risk of closing this week below the 382 goes away, and then we live to fight another week. If we see some kind of move that takes us up to the 236, we can breathe this. We can have a sigh of relief there as well, because we would likely see a higher high than this, and that really does open up the door for this to be a considered low. But the dagger in the heart of the bears would ultimately be 1.9 cents. You get above there on a daily closing basis, I don't think it's debatable anymore. This thing's found its low and it's going higher. And the reason why I'm not panicking, the reason why I'm not selling again, is because even if our worst dreams are realized, even if the worst possible outcome happens, and you go all the way down here, right? What's the bigger move? That's a pretty big move. I would not like to see that. I don't think anybody would. But what's the bigger move? That or new all-time highs? What's the bigger move, right? They're pretty close. They're pretty damn close. But I think it's obvious which one's a little bit bigger, right? It's pretty obvious. So I'm not worried about the downside. If anything, it's just an opportunity to buy more. Think about all the people up here who are like, damn, you're so smart. You were so lucky to get to buy down here. I wish I could have done that. They're going to be running for the hills, even though they're going to get exactly what they wanted, right? I'm saying they're going to get it. That doesn't mean they're going to get it. I'm just saying if it was to happen. This video is a little bit more bearish. It might be the most bearish that I've been on OnxyCoin, but again, I want to be very clear because of the tone I'm taking. I am not considering these things as likelihoods. They are possibilities. Possibility does not mean that it will happen. We need more data before we can confirm any of that. I'm just putting it on your radar. This is kind of like not even a red alert, but like a yellow alert, kind of warning, right, of what we need to see. And I know I've gestured at this. I know that we've talked about it, but the last day did not perform how I thought it would. Today so far is not performing how I thought it would. And then again, going off of this downtrend here in the 4-hour time frame, going off of this, it would imply that we go lower today. But maybe, because I've been off the past couple days, maybe the implication of going lower is exactly what we need, and now we won't go lower and we'll pump because I'm promoting a bearish video on OnxyCoin. But again, it's not even bearish. It's just bearish considerations. I don't think that we're going to go below 0.0084. I don't think we're going to go below there. I just accept that it's a possibility. And I think anybody and everybody should accept the possibility, right? That way you're better prepared if it does happen. In time, OnxyCoin will recover no matter what happens. We will see new all-time highs. We will see dramatically higher highs than the current price. And yeah, it's going to all be a bad dream in a very, very short amount of time. But depending on how low we go, depending on how bad this dream does get, remains to be seen over not just the coming days, but the coming, I would say, like the coming week plus today and tomorrow. So the coming like 9 days. It really weighs a lot on that. So we'll see. Hopefully things keep up. Hopefully we don't continue to go back down to this line. But I have to admit, guys, the 4-hour and the 1-hour RSIs do not have me optimistic. 15-minute time frame, kind of, but not really. I'm not holding out for that, man. you know, we can definitely keep going down. But time will tell. We'll see how it goes. It'd be a really good thing to close today green. Well, I'll just leave it at that, okay? Hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves, and bye-bye.